Fairly recently, I went on a trip where, towards the end of it, I visited with some family friends. The first time I visited them was when I wasn't even in elementary school, and since then, my family has visited these family friends about once every other year. One thing I started thinking about is how, because I've only seen them in these brief pockets of time throughout the years, I've seen their family change. Their youngest child, I noticed this time, had a tablet where they spent a lot of time on it. I'm in Generation Z. In fact, I think most people watching this are based on the analytics from the Amori video, but this kid is in the generation after, so it was funny hearing them one night upstairs playing Roblox, or the following morning seeing them wearing a Minecraft Creeper shirt. The original script for this video was something I started towards the beginning of the year, but I've wanted to make a video like this one for a long time. There is a lot that can be said about Minecraft, really too much, and that is the problem I'm encountering with the writing of this video. First, I thought about just talking about the evolution of the game, but then it would sound like I'm reading off the patch notes for the game. Next, I thought about my own subjective experience mixed with how the game evolved, but such a script evolved into something that became very unfocused. So instead, let me show you present day, present time. I wondered, probably beginning in 2015, how this game continued to sell millions of copies each year. I mean, who the fuck hasn't played this game yet that was going to? I mean, in the previous video, I said that if you were interested in playing Undertale, you would have played it by now, and for a while I felt the same thing about Minecraft. Yet, after my trip earlier this year, I realized who the people who keep buying Minecraft are. Kids. As in little kids. Think about it, if you got your Minecraft account in 2012, there's hundreds of millions, if not billions of kids who are alive today who were not almost 10 years ago. I have a Minecraft account that is older than a whole generation, and it will continue to be older than said generation. I'm stating the obvious, but it should be considered that just like how when all of us were 10 years old and asking our parents to buy Minecraft for us, for someone born on the day, say, I got Minecraft, they are now of the age they'll be asking their parents for Minecraft. The options to get this game haven't decreased. There's still the iOS store, Google Play, and of course classic read the real version, Java edition, on computers. But with a generation who grew up as the iPad was launched comes a generation that exists without ever experiencing YouTube in 360p, trying not to use your data cap on your phone, or hell, the shitty web browsers that were on your Nintendo DS or mom's BlackBerry. No one really has done what Minecraft has. Sure, Nintendo's IPs cross generations like Walt Disney films do, but only in the past 3 or 4 years has there been pseudo follow-ups to Minecraft. In 10 years, Mario had the 3 Super Mario Brothers on the NES, followed by World, Yoshi's Island, and Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. In about 12 years, Minecraft has had Minecraft Dungeons, that Telltale Adventure series, and wherever in the world Minecraft Earth was. My point here really is that the source code laid down by Notch in 2009 has only evolved since then, as there's never been a Minecraft 2. It's all updates. The nostalgia to Minecraft is attached to updates and the years people played it. One interesting thing I came to think about was the significance of different updates that really changed how the game feels. I've played versions of the game from before I got my account, and it is almost a surreal experience. The game feels like Minecraft at its core, but different things are off. I can't run, food doesn't stack. Yet when I load beta 1.8, now the whole lighting engine feels different, the grass looks different, and then when I load up 1.4.5, the game feels like how I remember it when I first opened it. But then load up 1.7.10 and it feels very similar, even though terrain generation visually alters everything I see. 1.17 doesn't feel too different to 1.14 until you stop looking around and start mining. The point I'm making is that this game has changed over the years, that it is feasible to create not only different versions of the game based on its updates, but also have optimal versions for specific experiences of the game. Perhaps due to how not every version had a mod pack scene attached to it, or due to enough changes happening in an update that its previous version is still preferred version, this has created a weird scene in the game where some people do not play the latest version. As an example, people who love the old school days of the game may only play beta 1.7.3. People who play on the oldest Anarchy server in Minecraft have been stuck on 1.12.2. Hypixel supports every version from 1.8 to 1.17, which I assume is because of the combat update. Actually, hold up. Hypixel allows you to play a 7-year-old version of the game among people who are running a version of the game released just a couple months ago. Anyway, the point I'm making is that there are legitimately parts of the community that prefer to play on a version of the game that isn't the latest version. The reason? If we're going to be honest, who cares? Because there are any number of reasons why someone would prefer an old version over a new version. Hell, as I record this, I am sticking to 1.16.5 only because 1.17 was only the first part of what was supposed to be one gigantic update. Fuck, where do I actually begin with this game? Already I'm talking about versions, and that really isn't what the game is about. The game isn't about playing the game in one version over another. The game is still Minecraft, it's just whatever elements of the game you want with it. Compared to when I first started playing the game, 1.17 is practically a mod version of 1.4.5. No, in reality, because there is so much that has been done with Minecraft, the only thing that does matter are the experiences with Minecraft. For some, that could be sticking exclusively to creative mode, while for others, it could be downloading an adventure map. It could be modding the shit out of the game until your computer suffers from a nuclear meltdown, or it could be the hours put into a vanilla survival world. The real problem with trying to tackle the entirety of Minecraft is that it is a phenomenon attached to a generation that, at the end of the day, you had to be there to experience it. Really, Minecraft is as much a part of Generation Z as Nickelodeon was for millennials, as 80s horror films and Brat Pack films were for Generation X, and the Beatles and Rolling Stones were for boomers. Just like how I can't go back in time to see Led Zeppelin at a concert, there will be children who will not be able to go back and experience the boom of this game back in 2013. Even if the game has had a resurgence in the past couple years, someone who wasn't around when this game was still new will never be able to experience what that feeling was like. Yet, just like discovering a 40-year-old record, they can still see what it was like, or perhaps try to enjoy for the first time. A little kid right now is just learning how to craft a wooden pickaxe, as I'm sitting here knowing too much about the game. Yet 9 years ago, sitting wherever I was sitting, such a program on my laptop made absolutely no sense to me. It all started between August and October, where I was meeting with my cousins. It was either on a trip I was on or a trip they were on to our respective sides of the country. But I saw this dark and pixelated game that sort of looked interesting. My cousin was playing on his iPod Touch, and he was showing me something he made in the game. He let me try to move around in the game, which resulted in me getting blown up by a nuclear green penis. Now, at this point, I had seen the name of this game around because someone I watched at the time had uploaded some videos of him playing the game. I never watched them, but when I did check out a video, it seemed like this game my cousin was showing me was actually about getting stranded on a desert island. Fast forwarding to me sitting at an elementary school cafeteria table. "Hey Gage, do you play Minecraft?" At that point, I had tried the game and didn't get it. I loaded into a world and didn't know what to do, so I deleted the game. No, it looks boring. Coming from a guy who plays SimCity and Sims, Minecraft was boring. Yeah, I explained that I didn't get what I was supposed to do, but said I'd try it again. So later that day, I tried it again and still didn't get it. At school, I told my friends there wasn't anything to do in the game and they looked at me funny, so I tried again later that day and continued this pattern a couple more times over. Eventually, what clicked with this game was when I was in creative mode and tried to build a railroad. Another time I built a brick house, and another time I was flying around until I found a village and figured out TNT exists in the game. Not only was this game Lego, but it could be more destructive than one could be with Lego. I mean, think about it. Have you ever thrown a firecracker into Lego? That shit's expensive and dangerous. Yet, here I was, being able to build something in this game, then ignite it, and learn what low FPS was. My 2009 laptop somehow didn't fry itself when I built the TNT skyscraper. How I learned more about this game was from looking for videos on it on YouTube and using the wiki. I think spending half a day watching these guide videos on the Minecraft wiki greatly helped me understand what this game was about. But along with these videos, I found that this game had a modding scene around it. I came from SimCity 4 and The Sims, which are all games that had a lot of mods and custom content with them. So finding out how to mod Minecraft really opened the doors with what I did in the game, as ironically by adding things to the game, I learned more about it. This was before I even learned about mod packs. So here I was replacing and adding files to a Minecraft jar, deleting meta in, and recompressing the game. Yet, I eventually found two British YouTubers who set out to build a certain biscuit factory.
God damn. Horrible things, aren't they?
Along with another British YouTuber who chose to build their house in a rainforest mountain.
I better make some torches too. ASAP.
For a couple years after finding that vanilla survival let's play, I would build my house into hills. But it was around now that I finally tried survival mode. Before saying it's peaceful. I think the year I most associate with Minecraft is 2013, even though arguably 2014 is a better fit. Yet, the reason for this is because this was the year I went from being new to the game to actually getting it. I started doing more complex shit with the game, I was playing it more frequently. Hell, I got a new computer this year and learned that PC gaming is best experienced with a mouse and keyboard and not a trackpad smaller than the palm of my hand or on a Mac. Additionally, this was when I found Tekkit and Feed the Beast. I also got more into YouTube during this time, found more games that looked interesting, got a Steam account, so on and so forth, yet I was still happy to build stuff in this game. Because the 1.5 update was coming out, I made sure to learn how to use all the features it was adding, and while I still don't quite understand comparatives, hopper pipelines and dropper elevators were a welcomed addition to the game. With the new update, horses simply became a core part of the game, and then by the following update, the whole world changed. I mean, really, the world went from being filled with tundras, plains, forests, and for some reason always spawning in a jungle, to all the biomes having a fucking mountain. I gotta admit, what was added in this update was cool, but I think I'd like 1.7 far better if it didn't mean that half of all biomes I ever see are mountains and dark wood forests. I guess to be fair, dark oak is a nice addition, but man do I enjoy how frequent mountains are. I should mention this fact as well. I made videos in some capacity since at least 2011, probably beginning in Windows Movie Maker as early as 2009. Even so, I think I fucked with some kind of video editing thing before that, and hell, a video that's not edited is still video after all. But it was in late 2012 that I began uploading videos to this website, and it was in early 2013 that I began, well, a Minecraft Let's Play. Yes, the video you're looking at, while not my first video on YouTube, does eventually lead to level type biomes op.
The question is, do you still have to wash stuff? Yeah, you still gotta wash your ass at some point.
No, do you have to wash your hands?
Rinpai visual novel.
Here we go!
Here we go!
And, well, how to spoil a game. I don't think you need to, nor do I think you have to. I was debating bringing up the fact that I used to be a squeaker playing Minecraft, and while I have come to realize everyone was a squeaker who played Minecraft, I just didn't realize until now that I completely forgot to mention this. Minecraft was not my entry into YouTube. That would be the SimCity 4 community, or even just my own mother showing me that I could find music videos on the internet. But I do think it is... Actually, I'm going to say this now. I think it is impossible to separate Minecraft from YouTube, because Minecraft really only is as popular as it is because of YouTube. From what I can tell, a lot of early players of the game will usually cite like SeaNanners.
Why don't you move on out of my way?
Or X.
The sun is still rising, so it's still late morning right now in the game.
As the person they first watched play Minecraft. Now, a second generation may then go on to cite like CaptainSparklez, AntVenom, Yogscast, Sky Does Minecraft. Honestly, the list goes on. And then so on and so forth until you get to today. But the point I'm making is that really only a minority of people probably started playing this game for a reason that wasn't because they saw it in some way on YouTube or Twitch. I think the one exception will probably be if you live in China, because I think Minecraft is actually sold in China, but YouTube doesn't exist over there, so wait, who the hell am I talking to? Of course, for what I was doing in Minecraft at this time, I should mention mod packs. Modding PC games has always been something I've done, and Minecraft is certainly not an exception. I think part of the reason I even registered for a legitimate Minecraft account was to download Tekkit. Unfortunately, I wouldn't actually play modded multiplayer until the following year, but it was fun dicking around with Buildcraft and trying to condense Cobblestone down to diamonds. So during this year, while I did run a small server with a couple of friends in vanilla, I also began to get really invested in modding. At this point in time, I don't think the mod packs I really played existed yet. You see, 1.6 modding and 1.7 modding was where everything was at back when I was starting the game. Yet even so, that didn't all start to come about until 2014. In my opinion, 2013 was an odd year for modding because a lot of mod packs had been stuck on 1.2.5, such as old school Tekkit, while some did make it to 1.4. Yet by the end of 2013, we were already on 1.7, but the good news was that maybe 1.6 modding was about to take off. For most of the year, the vanilla game was on 1.7. Most mod packs I remember during this time were either on 1.6 or 1.7. This was the time where I'd say the old guard of mods started to be replaced. Some of these mods stopped being updated, which meant someone else had to make a replacement. While I'm not too sure on these dates, some examples of these mods are Buildcraft, Industrialcraft, Red Power 2, Equivalent Exchange, Thaumcraft, NEI, and arguably Tinker's Construct to a degree. Now, these mods I just listed live on in some way with mods like Mechanism, Project Red, Project E, and JEI, with Tinkers still existing after exchanging hands a few times. Either way, it was during this time that I think modding hit its peak for me because these additions add to Minecraft in a way that still felt true to the vanilla experience. Adding biomes, adding ores, and even adding machines or magic didn't change what the game felt like to me. You still built machines in Minecraft, you still did a bit of magic, but now, in a modded version of the game, you simply did more with these elements of the game. Now granted, these were not the only types of mod packs in the game, since skyblock type mod packs also became prominent, such as Agrarian Skies. I think something that is missing in me talking about Minecraft in 2014 is the minigame scene. Yeah, you see, I didn't play minigames all that much because I didn't play Minecraft for minigames. I still have to acknowledge the fact that Hypixel and Mineplex exist and have more minigames than I thought were possible, at least nowadays. But while I do recognize the role these games probably had in the game's overall success, I don't really have anything to say about them. Look, Garry's Mod is a game that I think more people have played for Prop Hunt or TTT than for its sandbox features. I say this, and yet one of my favorite memories from this game was in sandbox on GM Big City and GM 4, but besides that, I may be wrong on this assessment, but the draw of Gmod was the sandbox capabilities mixed with the game modes, a la Prop Hunt, TTT, Murder, and the 6,900 RP servers. With Minecraft, I think this is similarly true to a degree. I think the sandbox element of Minecraft has more gameplay to it than with Gmod. Seriously, the Gmod sandbox in my eyes is a toy box merged with your dad's toolbox, whereas even with creative mode in Minecraft, it feels like either Lego or 3D visualization of machine programming. The focus of the community definitely had shifted from its virtual Lego like it was when I joined the game to its X game, but in Minecraft. I acknowledge how cool it is to have an arcade in a game that you can visit with your friends. I definitely see how someone who may not have enjoyed the survival aspect of the game could still have fun with friends if this was one of the only games that they could have. You can pick between convincing your parents to get you the new Call of Duty, or you could try to convince them to get you Minecraft with almost any game you could think of inadvertently packaged in with it. At the end of the day though, the playstyle of myself and my friends was always more serious. We created our own servers to run mod packs or vanilla worlds and properly grinded out materials to do more stuff. It was in 2013 when I joined a vanilla survival server for the first time and learned what survival Minecraft could look like with friends. It was in 2014 when I joined a modded survival server for the first time and learned what could be done in modded Minecraft. We didn't need a faction server because we already split up into groups, although I tend to work separately anyway. Oh, it lags a server, sure, being super far away and exploring. I found that on weekends I had to join early or very late to do some stuff, or else a chest would take 10 seconds to load. There's a reason why nowadays I don't host servers on my own hardware, because the server performance I can get with $20 a month through some server hoster, is far superior to what I could get out of my internet back in the day and even now. But at the end of the day, it was always cool being able to visit someone's house only to find it was now a huge power station and warehouse. We all were lucky enough to have powerful enough computers to run most of these mod packs, even if it took 10 minutes to load. But we had a great time, even if it was frequently in frame rates below 30 FPS, or the server kept running out of memory. Things changed after Microsoft bought Mojang. 1.8 already added almost nothing to the base game, yet now it meant Forge had to update. 1.9 wouldn't come out until 2016, so for a whole year, any enjoyment from the game had to come from the community. Now granted, things continued to happen, the game didn't just die, but felt like things really slowed down. For me, 2015 itself wasn't a great year to begin with, and without going into too much of a tangent, let's just say 2 years of constantly playing the game had finally caught up to me as well, and now the vanilla game felt boring. Look, 1.8 really just didn't add shit, it felt like. You had the ocean monument and rocks, but this didn't really prompt me to want to find an ocean monument, so that leaves us with granite and banners. Back to modded though, I played a lot of modded on my own, but ended up hitting sort of an existential issue with modded. Really, what is the end goal? Do I keep hoarding resources? Do I try to build something? It felt like there was no more difficulty in that I was just doing stuff to complete a mod. Thus, I discovered a fundamental issue with my then current modded experience. I need people to join me on modded, but no one wanted to at this time. Mod packs, at least the ones I tried to get working, were simply too powerful for an enjoyable multiplayer experience, and anyway, it seemed like some friends of mine just started to lose interest in the game anyway. Here's the thing, maybe it was because I was playing this game every day for 2 years, mixed with the fact that there wasn't really a lot of new things I felt that I could do with the game. I played other games, hell, this year's Cities Skylines came out and I have too many hours on that game, but in all honesty, I'm not too sure why I hadn't completely gotten bored with the game during this time. But perhaps I was bored already, and it took until 2016 for me to realize that. It's probably around now that I started realizing a pattern with some of the servers my friends were setting up. We would do some stuff, but then for some reason restart. It was like, oh, we need to restart because X person needs a fair start, or oh, we need a new survival world because of the new update, or we're changing to another mod pack. I hate having to constantly restart because the thing with modded is that you don't really start modded Minecraft with modded Minecraft. You have to start with vanilla first. You know, craft a wooden pickaxe, make a furnace, get iron, get diamond. You need all that before building half the machines and mechanism. You had to do this before making a smeltery because you, at minimum, need a lot of coal and a proper source of lava. But you will never get anywhere if you keep restarting. On top of that, I was getting bored of the standard fare of servers because for some reason all of our servers always had a competitive aspect to them. It made no sense to me, and even the couple of times I tried to work with a friend, it didn't end well. But strangely, there was one time we all worked together. It was on some dude's server. He lived all the way up in New Hampshire, and somehow my friend knew this guy. But what happened was, because there was a lot of people who we didn't know who played on the server, our normal group of friends began to work together on this server. Each one of us had the skill, knowledge, and ability to do a lot on our own. Hell, even now I tell people I am as efficient as 2 people when it comes to modded. But working together meant a lot got done in a small amount of time. This was the only time with this old group of friends of mine where we worked together.
Do you remember the survey with the guys from New Hampshire? From your...
Yes, I do. I absolutely do. That was an amazing server. I remember that.
Can you recount the story of that?
Yes, kind of. Kind of? Yeah, kind of. I remember we were talking to one of them, and remember Adam, who was Mikey. I don't remember what his username was, but I still have him on like social media. And they had their base and they were somewhere else, and for some reason they thought we were a threat. No. We encroached on land that was theirs, I think. And they were like, we're gonna nuke you. And we're like, huh? I'm like, oh, well, we'll leave now. And so we left and we went back to our base. and then they started firing hypersonic missiles at us, and all of our bases were, our collective base was getting sent into the stratosphere, and we're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we're gonna sought revenge on these fellas. We're gonna mess them up. So we go and I remember there was basically like a whistleblower. I think it was his older brother or something who gave us their cords, and so we go there, and it was a mod pack. So Charlie had this like really boofed cleaver that just could, shred people and like absolutely annihilate them. And we basically just like, we didn't have any bombs, but we had like brute force, and we just went to their base and slaughtered them and chased them out of their base and slaughtered them and destroyed their base from the inside out. It was a lot of fun.
So
I don't remember, did we get banned? I feel like we got banned. I think I remember what happened, like, that really set everything off, is that I was exploring, and they fired a nuke at me while I was exploring. They just, like, they obliterated me, and I was like, well, damn, that means war. Like, I meant no harm, and they nuked me. Yeah, it looks like blocks are just kind of thrown around.
Yeah.
I do remember that, though. That was a fun fight. We killed them.
I just remember that was like that was one of the first times where I had to explain to my parents, look, there's something going on in a game, I have to be quick.
It's like, now's not the time to pause, it's multiplayer.
Yeah, now's not the time for dinner, now is the time for me to get some fucking revenge.
I remember Charlie with his cleaver, he was like, he had beheading on, so he just kept getting their heads. And he was like collecting them like trophies. It was kind of gruesome, but also really cool.
We won the war as we celebrate when all of us return to our base. That is, until some stupid bullshit happened. Yeah, so for some reason, we let 2 people onto our team. I think one during the war and then one after, who proceeded to waste all our materials and contribute absolutely nothing. One of them even handed over our ME system to the other faction after they lost. I wanted to say it was over some bullshit that proceeded to happen at their middle school in New Hampshire, but honestly, the details are fuzzy.
Yeah,
I think I remember either you or Charlie got their ME system off of one of them when they got killed.
I think that might have been me.
Yeah, so we got all of their
Don't quote me,
shit.
but I did. Yeah, we got their like ME hard drives.
And then brought it back to base, and then I remember just like the next day, for some reason, I think just gave it back to them, and our ME system as well.
Oh, well, that's... They're like, okay, well, we lost, so we're gonna just reset everything, but if you lose, you don't get any of it.
Yeah, it's like, I just remember that at that point, that was when we all were like, well, what the fuck just happened?
It's like, what was the point of all that?
Yeah. Because not only we were, if anything, we were actually in like an even worse spot than we started in, because now we didn't have our ME system.
Yeah, and they had ours.
Yeah.
I remember those were some good times from that server, from all those servers. They all made for good memories.
Because I remember what was awesome about that server is because there were so many people on it. It felt a lot bigger than I think any other server that, except for maybe the 2019 one. It just felt bigger than any other server that I had been on. Yeah, because it felt like
everybody was playing together constantly.
Yeah.
There were always people on there.
It also felt like that in a way there were probably like other... If you wanted to look at this from a story perspective, there were other like storylines going on as well, probably.
Yeah, I'm sure there were. I'm sure there's parts of that server that we never knew.
This is still one of my favorite stories from playing this game, because it reminds me of a time of cooperation. It was the one time a war server I was on actually worked out and was enjoyable. It never was fun working independent of everyone and then having to go to war or else the server's whole purpose would be defeated. Yet, this time it was different, but that was the last big thing to happen in the game. When we eventually did switch back to a vanilla server, the old ways returned and it wasn't fun anymore. I now had to craft another wooden pickaxe only to eventually get robbed or be killed.
That's my house and that's Brett's house down there. There's Brett.
That is definitely...
Oh!
Yeah!
Whoopsies! Upsies! Whoopsie daisies! What's that?
Just... It's a fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm.
It's like, who, what, where? I would never do such a thing.
I wasn't all that motivated if I knew everything I was going to make was just going to be destroyed for no reason. One thing that I remember from this time, as I was about to quit a server, was being told, if you quit the server will die. It was in an argument I was having with a friend, but it pissed me off being told that somehow my presence on a server was the only thing keeping it alive. My presence that I myself found as a burden to myself. So I quit the server and stopped really caring all that much for the game. I don't think I have ever properly quit this game, more so I take a very long break. Quitting would mean that I never picked it up again, uninstalled it, or at minimum had at least a solid year I didn't play it. And yet, I have a screenshot of this game for every year I played it. I hardly even remember what I did this year in this game. I think I played a vanilla server, learned parrots were added, cement finally was added as a solid color block, but that was it. I think at this time, I had begun switching over to playing a lot more of Cities Skylines. I happened to get a new computer around this time, which allowed me to play Cities Skylines above 15 frames a second. Yet to me it felt like Minecraft was annoyingly unoptimized during this time. This may just be me, but I swear trying to run the vanilla game during this time legitimately required that I have a new computer. Forget shaders, we're just talking about render distance set to 4, smooth lying off, and trying to get 60 FPS. I swear, I was getting just below 60 on my old computer on an older version of the game, so even though this is a newer computer with a much more powerful GPU, I still may not get a steady 60 frames a second. I think it was here where I decided I would only play modded Minecraft because I wasn't a big fan of where the game was going. It was probably something like the game didn't have much that interested me and that I didn't want to craft another wooden pickaxe. It was spring break and I convinced a friend of mine to download Resonant Rise.
Spring Break 2018, I think, was when it was. You remember that, where we had that modded server that was on Resonant Rise? Like, do you remember how much time we were spending on that?
2018?
Yeah, it was all the way back then.
Jesus. Freaking old.
What made this world great is that we had so much time to play this mod pack and we actually started getting somewhere in it.
But do you remember about where we spawned and then started walking out of?
This was the Dark Oak Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the little thing that we didn't realize about being in a Dark Oak Forest in Resonant Rise?
Oh, those fucking mushroom things. What the fuck? Oh man, dude, getting flamethrowers, making flamethrowers just to like eradicate those stupid mushroom people.
So you remember this very well then.
They just endlessly duplicated those.
And
oh my God.
and for the longest time we didn't know where the fuck they were coming from. Like, we didn't know how they were coming into existence.
Yeah. Oh yeah, didn't we have like a small like railway going like under our house that we didn't finish?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess we did. Oh yeah, this was do you remember how useless this thing was?
Yeah, the tiny railway.
Like, I think I made it just so we could like ship cargo back from the mine to the base without having to keep going back and forth. But ultimately, it was just a waste of rails.
Oh yes, the blue creeper skin. Oh yes.
Okay, do you remember this though?
Did we get far with that?
We completed this. This is like one of the few things that we actually completed in Minecraft. This was one of the very few times we built a railroad.
Oh yeah, dude. Okay, I remember that.
And I remember that like we were
yeah,
up
it was
until
totally
4.
Too.
Yeah, look, there are the slabs, and then there was glass as well. And then I think at this moment is when we finally discovered the Mantangos.
The flamethrower. Perfect.
And then there were fucking 4 of them right here.
I put so many of those Ars Magica lights down, and they still spawned in like that. Come on.
I don't remember the exact context of this. Walk me through. What was the idea with this cross?
The platform.
You know it.
What were the dimensions for that? It was like
I think it was like
ridiculous.
127 by 127 or something like that.
Oh my god.
Or 129 by 129 because I know it was an odd number.
At least we had like builder's wands for that. If we did,
Oh, yeah.
oh my god.
Like this was so much cobblestone because we're talking barrels of cobblestone.
And
And
we also have the compressed things. Wasn't that a thing in this?
we were using compressed cobblestone to just like ship the cobblestone out,
Yeah.
so we didn't have to keep taking trips.
Yes. Burn. Burn.
And the whole idea, right, was there was going to be a utility level, and then we would just build everything on top of it. So like electric, wiring, pipes, all that. And the idea was that I think the one building that I actually kind of finished it with, because you can see it here with this, I think that was like a water conduit or something. But the idea was to have like a functional city here that actually had water, power, all of that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I thought that this was a fun time. This was the first time that we did modded.
That was a pretty fun time. I do say. The platform.
Sounds like you have a gamer as a roommate.
It's through like a door. They're just shouting that loud.
I joined another survival server, but didn't get too far. I did a lot of quarry-like mining on it, but funny enough, I think we all left that server when Fallout 76 was launching, and my friend had a couple beta codes. Nothing else happened. There was then another modded server, which I did join, but only on the condition that I get some stuff when I join, because I didn't want to craft another wooden pickaxe, make a furnace, and so on. Luckily, I was given enough to build a nice house on a hill and even set up a sufficient power system to smelt materials. It wasn't much, but it was enough to accelerate through 5 or 6 hours of tedious gameplay. I was doing a lot on this mod server. I helped build a railroad, I began building a bunch of other railroads, I built what I called the library and museum, but in reality it was a skyscraper on a tiny ass island next to a rail junction. I had plans for more railroads connecting different spots of the server, yet as is the case with most servers, it began to die out. Now I did at least achieve something on the server. Before I joined, they all created a government on the server that really didn't do much. But it was a council comprised of like the 7 most powerful people on the server or something. Well, I managed to become powerful enough on the server to make it on the council since I had acquired so much wealth on the server to construct all these different structures and projects. So that was cool. The server really began to die again due to lag and people getting busy. A lot of people were living near each other, and while building my skyscraper in town, I really started to notice just how laggy the server had become. This is the unfortunate reality of many a mod server. But at this time, another group of friends of mine had a vanilla server going on, and they invited me to it. I figured I might as well join it since I hadn't really played the game with them before, and I had been playing modded for a long time instead of vanilla.
How the hell does installing Optifine make it where it's like HD+?
This is one of the funniest sessions I've had with Minecraft, and it is great that I streamed it and have it recorded. I played for about 4 hours, sometime in the evening. In the first hour, I logged on, got some resources, went to the Nether, and found my friend's town, Switzerland. They had built a bunch of wooden houses there, some farms, and it was supposed to be peaceful, yet some things did look a little destroyed.
Where the hell did I end up? What is this? Well, good thing I didn't fall down there.
The tower I fell out of used to have a floor, yet everything else looked fine to me when I briefly went through it. The drama starts about 2 hours into the session where I'm now out on an island, getting more resources, and I see some arguments happening in the chat.
Alright, for the live stream, I'm going to check something real quick, so I'm going to mute the audio. Just see if it's I guess safe for production to enter the voice chat with them.
I eventually get into a Discord call with some of them, only to find out that Switzerland was destroyed after I left it. They assumed someone did it, and that someone I would soon stumble across their base. For the next hour, I inspected the base, and eventually brokered a deal with my friends that I would give them the coordinates to this base if they let me join them. Deal accepted. In 20 minutes, what was an underground base became a cavern filled with lava. But, unfortunately, towards the end of the session, as I was given some tools and guide back to their base in the desert, I felt the server die because now there was nothing else to do. Sure enough, in the following days, no one talked about rejoining the server, and the peoples whose base we destroyed left the server completely. Yet, sure enough, my other friend sort of was right about the power I must have over a server. Somehow, Absolute Problem joined the game, marked a turning point in the server, leading to its downfall. So if me leaving a server can kill it and me joining it can destroy it, then, I guess the best advice I can give is to be scared if you ever see Absolute Problem join the game. This screenshot marked the end of that server. 19 days later, this screenshot marked the beginning of a new server.
You either leave now or you get stuck with me while I'm digging straight down.
Oh my god!
Torch under the gravel.
And then you'd come back, I'd be like, greetings. Oh god, not again.
Hang on, I'm gonna make this bridge wider. It is strange how all this footage is over 2 years old now because this server feels like it started last week. All of us were dealing with finals when it started, but even after our AP finals wrapped up, we had a whole summer to spend on this server. 1.14 was one crazy update, instantly making these cookie cutter villages more interesting and having so much more stuff compared to the last version I played. At this point, I still consider 1.7.10 to be the last good version of the game. 1.8 through 1.11 didn't add enough in my eyes, as I mentioned before. Even though I had played a bit during 1.12 and 1.13, I didn't do anything with what was added in those versions. This server wasn't a short-lived server, which is why I think it worked so well and still remains my favorite vanilla world I've ever been on. This server, consistently, for at least a month and a half, had many people on it daily, and even after that month and a half was up, there were several dedicated players on it. The past few years, I was missing something with my experience with this game. While I had done some things in single player and made some cool things in it, I was reminded what made this game great. Minecraft allows for almost anything to happen in it. If you wish to roleplay a political drama, I bet you not only can you do it, but someone has already done that almost 8 years before you. If you wish to compete with your friends to destroy each other in thermonuclear war, there's mods that will let you do that. But what was ultimately missing for me for the past couple years was a cooperative experience. This village would not exist if there were not a good 10 people who contributed to it. We all did only a few things or a lot of things, but this village exists because 3 people, including yours truly, found it. This village exists because someone carried through in their promise to build this massive wall. Someone built this mansion outside of it, someone built the first train station that inspired all these rail lines, different people added their houses inside the walls, it was a group effort. The only thing I wish is that it didn't end. I'm not in possession of the server because a friend of mine was the one who ran it. I don't even know if he's still using it or not because he's told me about different servers he's hosted since. I don't even know if those servers have ever compared to this server. But what I can tell you is that I still have the photos of those moments being on the server. When I laid down the first few blocks that turned into this tower, which burnt down and had to undergo a concrete conversion. This shrine, which was incomplete for the longest time until I got a shit ton of nether bricks to finish it. This structure designed for villagers that eventually burnt down before I could complete it. When I was up with 2 other guys until almost 5 in the morning in a Discord call while they built the Fortnite logo out of quartz and we just listened to death grips on loop. This big ass box that turned out to be the least efficient mob spawner ever built, or this massive hole that was going to be a train station. The list goes on, as really my experience of this server ultimately was a fraction of everyone else's experience on the server. While my focus may have been on this village near spawn, I know 3 people who went off to make their own villages as well. I wish I could stop this video here because I feel like this is a poetic end to talking about my experience in Minecraft. I found the game, eventually got bored with it, and my interest was rekindled. Yet to do so would be disingenuous because there's about 2 years that I have yet to talk about. Let me go on a tangent. The Absolute Problem YouTube channel was created on January 16th, 2018, and the first video uploaded to it was this video I uploaded to send to some friends on Discord. That was the whole point of this channel for around 8 months until I uploaded an EP and then eventually decided to upload videos for more people than just my friends. This channel was how I shared demos of songs and videos I just felt like making, but then come time July 2019, I'm now uploading gameplay videos to this channel. I bring this up because 2020 was a year. Ask me in January what the plan for the channel was, and I'd say it was to keep making videos I was making then. Multiplayer experience videos, single player experience videos, and then the occasional video where I talked about something I liked. For a long time, I was going to make a follow-up video to The Wall and talk about Led Zeppelin for a bit. That never happened, yet. But then the virus happened. That's all I really have to say, and you would think this would be a good time for Summer 2019 Part 2, but that didn't happen either. I recorded stuff, sure, and I have all this footage sitting on a hard drive, but I never did anything with it because I didn't know what to really do with this channel in 2020. Still, I continued playing this game and record stuff in case I felt like returning to YouTube with a well-edited multiplayer experience video.
This is literally a pool of water that has still been here for the longest time.
Fuck, that doesn't do anything
Hell,
anymore.
Gage, you broke your ass.
I'm on back to the other
No,
village.
His room has been flooding since we moved here.
But a problem plagued my mind in doing this because it felt like there were too many Minecraft videos on this channel compared to everything else. But either way, I still played this game with friends a lot, so really, who cares? The one thing that never happened was that summer 2019 experience I wished for. We didn't stick to one server, instead starting several different vanilla servers. There was one server that for some reason had a weird gimmick to it. If memory serves me right, someone was making adventure maps or something where the rewards were overpowered shit, which, yeah, I think my viewers are smart enough to know why that server died fairly quickly. So there was then that server, followed by a modded server, which did okay for a week, but some people weren't able to join and some people got bored very quickly. Then there was this vanilla server that we spent a decent amount of time on. It was on this server I concluded that I couldn't just build tiny things and still be satisfied in playing the game. I need big projects that went all out. On this new server, I built this pretty big house, but it never got completed. To be fair, all of us were now in university, so what could have been a summer very similar to the now nostalgic 2019 server simply didn't happen. But the interest in the game never went away with my friends. The servers seemed somewhat short-lived, with maybe one every now and again still being up for a month, but it always feels like this game comes back. Perhaps why I never stopped playing this game was because it kept coming back in some way. Early this year, I failed to complete my most ambitious base, but there was some good fun on this server while it lasted. It was at this point, watching the sun rise and set over this white castle, that I began to think about this game and how significant it has been. I recalled things I could remember and tried to remember the things I forgot. I started writing these ideas down and looking for the things I did remember. Some things were easy, like screenshots and some worlds I had backed up, but there were several things that I wish I had kept, taken screenshots of, or even recorded. Perhaps one day I will find something and wish I had included it in this video. I've been working on this video since April of this year. It wasn't difficult to get footage of Minecraft because I play it and record it very frequently. What was difficult was getting the footage I needed to properly represent everything I talked about in this video. You can't recapture memories. With an asterisk. You can attempt to recapture them, I mean this is done all the time when you recollect your thoughts on something, but it ultimately is an abstraction of what you may desire to convey. For instance, if I had an actor that looks like me act out a moment in my life, it may come close to what happened, But in reality, it certainly isn't what happened. On one hand, it isn't the event it is based on, yet on the other hand, it isn't even a proper capture of said event, or to put it simply, it isn't the photograph of that moment. It's about as much of a photograph or video of that moment as a picture of someone copying the scene of Rocky Balboa standing on the stairs of the Philadelphia Museum of Art. As I've struggled over the past few months on how to end this video, it finally hit me while lying in bed one October night. If the best recreating a scene from a memory can do is remind you of the memory, then why bother with even doing that if music can achieve the same thing? After all, if you do not have a photograph of the event, maybe hearing a song that was playing at the time will do just fine. I'll never forget what was going on when I first listened to The Wall. I'll always remember this random week towards the end of freshman year where I had an English project and a bio project, where I just had this playing off my phone while I worked for hours on these two assignments. Yet it isn't The Wall that does this for me. I can remember the first time I heard any of my favorite albums. Hell, albums that aren't that important to me, I still remember the first time I heard them. The Downward Spiral reminds me of a chemistry class. Francis the Mute reminds me of different things from senior year in high school. Quadrophenia does a similar thing, but also reminds me of visiting my grandfather for Thanksgiving back in 2019. These songs and albums are part of memories, and at least for me, it's hard not to think of these memories when hearing these songs. And thus, as I laid in my bed listening to The Rock and Rain Over Me, I realized a corollary to the main points of this video. In this random ultra-wide footage I have of Alpha 1.2.6, I recorded for an older version of the script 2 piano pieces played that reminded me of when I first played this game. Looking at the wiki patch notes for music, nothing changed with the game's music for almost 3 years until 1.7. In all honesty, I don't know most of the music added in after 1.7 because it was around this time I stopped playing with the music on. I was not interested in hearing the beginning of Mice on Venus while playing my own music on Spotify. Anytime I made a new instance in the launcher or installed a mod pack, my go-to order in the options menu was turn up the FOV, turn off the music, and set GUI to 2. Yet, every now and again, I'll re-enable the music. In my opinion, C418 didn't make a timeless soundtrack in the slightest. He made a soundtrack that has a very distinct time period set to it, being our childhoods. In 2020, Minecraft surpassed 200 million sales across all its platforms. At the very least, for most of its time, the game has cost exactly $26.95 on Minecraft.net. An LP, new, will usually cost between $20 and $30, and if it is a double album, it will be around $40. So while you're obviously not buying Minecraft for its music, you're paying the price of an LP for an account that may last you 10 years or more. Either way, I say all this because it is my belief that C418 could be considered the most influential musician and composer of the past decade. It isn't a case of being so influential that a whole genre is established, or that they specifically molded the direction of music in a particular direction. It is the case that among 200 million copies of this game being sold, I guarantee you not only have many millions more heard this music that do not own this game, but that even someone who didn't play Minecraft but grew up during the time it was popular can feel something from its soundtrack. I do not think this is the end of Minecraft. I'm willing to bet that eventually it will reach 500 million sales. Perhaps by 2029, on the 20th anniversary of the game's creation, it will have reached such a number. Until then, there is a whole generation that will begin, if they haven't already, crafting their first wooden pickaxe, as our generation recalls our own childhoods, to the sound of stone blocks breaking and the soft piano sounds of Sweden, Dry Hands, and Minecraft.